Bela Lugosi. Although famous, or infamous, for his bombastic overreacting, Lugosi could deliver a finely shaded, almost naturalistic portrayal when enticed by a savory role. Unfortunately, he was rarely so enticed, especially later in his career when the actor was forced to subsist on a meager diet of mad doctor roles. During those bleak years, Lugosi fell back on his tired and true assortment of piercing stares and grins. This made his portrayals repetitive and often unintentionally hilarious. But could anyone else have accomplished more with films like Murder by Television? Time and again, Lugosi faced bad dialogue delivered by characters in ludicrous situations. Even at his worst, Lugosi remained entertaining. Lugosi was almost never a great actor, but he was almost always never an uninteresting one. Dracula. Because many people regard the story of Dracula as glorified superstition, the actor who plays the role is constantly striving to make the character so real that the audience will believe it. Bela Lugosi, in a 1931 radio broadcast, as quoted in the Magic Image film book series Volume Dracula. Perhaps that explains why several cast and crew members related the same story over the years, that during shooting, between scenes, Lugosi, in full costume, would stand in front of a mirror, stare at his reflection, and bellow, "I am Dracula." Cinema history has proven Lugosi correct. For millions of fans, forever after, Lugosi simply was Dracula. He wrote the definition of the classic movie vampire. Even though anyone is saying the part of Count Dracula must respond to Lugosi's towering portrayal with either imitation or innovation. A terrific moment arrives when Dracula meets his arch-nemesis, Professor Van Helsing, a most distinguished scientist, whose name we know, even in the wilds of Transylvania, says the smirking vampire when introduced. Lugosi seems delightfully smug, his voice dripping with sarcasm, and he grins and bows to his would-be destroyer. Some of Lugosi's most powerful scenes in Dracula contain no dialogue at all. Dracula, eyes ablaze with mesmeric power, rises from his coffin in the basement of his castle. His attack on Mina, with Lugosi's face twisted into a horrific scowl as it lowers toward the camera lens, in a shot from the point of view of the sleeping victim. Browning would recall how effective Lugosi was in these silent sequences when he worked with the actor again, 4 years later, on Mark of the Vampire. In that film, Browning gave Lugosi only one line, but used the actor to generate many of the movie's chills. Lugosi's performance, considered creaky in the hindsight of many historians, possessed far greater power back in 1931. Many critics of the era, although lukewarm toward the picture as a whole, were lavish in their praise of Lugosi. It's difficult to think of anybody who could quite match the performance in the vampire part of Bela Lugosi. Lon Chaney Jr. He earned his long-awaited big break by winning the role of Lenny in a Los Angeles stage production of John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men, a bona fide Broadway hit. Chaney earned rave reviews and retained the role in director Lewis Milestone's 1939 screen adaptation of the play. Chaney's touching performance in the movie jump-started his floundering film career. He followed Of Mice and Men with his first horror fantasy role, 1 Million BC. The Wolfman. If Bela Lugosi defined the classic screen vampire, then Chaney Jr. personified the werewolf. His impassioned portrayal of Larry Talbot, the Wolfman, richly deserved its place among the pantheon of landmark horror characters. Chaney's Wolfman quickly entered the canon of universally recognized Universal monsters. Karloff's Frankenstein monster and Lugosi's Dracula remain the only rivals to the character's enduring popularity. Chaney reprised his role as Larry Talbot 4 times, in Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, and performed capably in each film. Some fans and critics argue he was even better in Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman than in the original. But none of the sequels offered Chaney the opportunity to portray a wide range of emotions as the original Wolfman.
How is everything, sir?
Oh, well, the Swiss sandwich was stale, the Swiss cheese was bad, the Swiss steak was rough, and the Swiss wine was kind of sour. Not the best way to start out a new Swiss restaurant, but your Swiss dress is kind of nice.
He can't get me fired. The Swiss owner is my father.
See any good films we can go see for Halloween weekend, Jolene? Oh, Connie, here's Halloween, part 12. Friday the 13th, part 14. Jeez. And one theater has Nightmare on Elm Street, The Terror Begins Again, and another remake of Dracula. Oh, boy. You know, I think I'm just going to dig through my old horror and monster films and just watch them. You want to come by? Thanks, Jolene. And the soft drink and popcorn will be free.
Hey, Della, how'd your night go?
Oh, hi, Wayne. Oh, well, you know what? I covered about 10 blocks. There's about 4 kids that had box of candy with rocks in them.
Oh.
And then some of the bigger kids were knocking down the little ones, but the police got them, however.
Well, that's good. I had a young man who got a bag full of mildewed marshmallows.
Oh.
A young girl got a small box of candy that had sand in it. And one boy got an apple and it had a razor blade in it.
That's horrible.
I know.
Oh, you know, I am so glad that I have become the neighborhood supervisor for Trick or Treat.
Oh, yeah, a lot of us did that. I am too, because Halloween, Della, is still fun. It's just a shame that there's always a few jerks out there who try to ruin it.
They're always around. You know what? I'm on my way going home now, and I'm going to watch The Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, that is a great one. Me, I'm going to a costume party dressed up as Napoleon, but I will try to avoid Waterloo. Roberta, as the only woman to join the Gray Eagles team, we have your bonus check, and as the captain of the team, it is my duty to hand it to you.
Aw, thanks, Toby.
My pleasure,
Thank
Roberta.
you.
All righty. You know, since you have signed up, we now have 4 other women playing on men's teams. We have 2 women umpires, and we also have 2 women general managers of the men's teams. Before you know it, what's next? I mean, are we going to have women owners?
Funny you should mention that.